I'm Lisa Evers, and this is Street Soldiers. We're seeing it everywhere. It's called CBD, and it's being hailed as a treatment for many conditions. But what does it really do? Whoopi Goldberg is just one of a growing list of celebrity CBD entrepreneurs. Kim Kardashian loves it so much, she had a CBD-themed baby shower. Former NFL star and New York Giant Kevin Ogletree turned to CBD to deal with the pain of a physically punishing career and still passed the drug tests.
I never failed a test. I never worried about failing tests. I was just trying to figure out ways to stop taking prescription drugs and be in enough, be in a space where I can keep playing and practicing at a high level.
CBD is a non-intoxicating marijuana extract without the THC that gets you high. It's available in states that have legalized medical marijuana. It's being promoted, even by major companies, as a treatment for problems ranging from sleeplessness to anxiety. But there are very few medical studies about its safety or effectiveness. An FDA panel did recommend approval of a CBD product to treat severe childhood epilepsy.
I prescribe it for epilepsy, for people that just had surgery, for post-traumatic stress disorder, for a lot of nerve damage like neuropathy.
The most common products are edibles and topicals like lotions and creams. The Life Gardening Tools product line features tinctures and edibles. Personal dosage is by trial and error, and there's no industry-wide oversight. Demand is growing for a product that relieves stress without impairing function, says Life Gardening Tools CEO Adrian Edwards.
I've started to focus on different types of tinctures, such as sleep tinctures that combine other herbs to help with insomnia, or to make combinations that are more powerful for stress.
CBD is being used in many ways. Let's find out what our panel has to say. Joining me is Kevin Ogletree. He's a former NFL player, a CBD advocate. He's from Queens. Kevin, great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. Also with us is Dr. Joyce Golson. She's a family medicine specialist and addiction specialist. She practices in Brooklyn. Dr. Joyce, great to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. Also with us is Adrian Edwards. He's the first black CBD wholesaler. He's a cannabis advocate and educator, and he's also a beekeeper and community advocate. Adrian, great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Joyce, I want to start with you on this. What exactly is CBD?
Well, without introducing marijuana, I can't explain CBD. So I'm going to back it up and explain cannabis sativa, which is the compound, which it involves hemp and marijuana.
Right.
So, we are talking about CBD, which is found in hemp, which is legal. You can get marijuana legally with a card in New York State, which
For medical purposes.
Yes, for medical purposes. So now CBD is an extraction, which is 0.3% of hemp, and below is CBD.
And then just look at me, please, while I'm talking.
Oh, okay.
So, and then let me ask you, Adrian, let me bring you in here.
Yeah.
The CBD, we just, I mean, I can't walk into I've seen it all kinds of stores, from the makeup store in our neighborhood to the health food store to all kinds of advertising. I mean, it's being touted for everything, but what exactly does it do?
So to piggyback off what the doctor was saying, we have an endocannabinoid system, and it's inside the body and externally. So you'll see a lot of products that are topical, so things that people could put on their bodies, creams, lotions, pain bombs, and then you'll see things that people could take internally, such as tinctures, edibles, cookies, all types of things. Now the difference of what you're seeing with some of the products is there's CBD isolate, which is just CBD. There's broad spectrum, which doesn't have THC but has all the different cannabinoids. And then there's full spectrum. So I prefer full spectrum just for the effects that it provides to people.
Well, let me ask you in plain English. Do
Yeah.
people get high from CBD?
People get relaxed. That's the best word that I tell people. It assists with, it's not euphoric, but when your stress levels are down, then for some people that can feel like a high if they're that stressed, but it's not a high. No.
It's not something like that. Kevin, you use CBD. Tell us about that, especially for somebody like yourself that taking a lot of, been on the field, the playing field, and a lot of heavy duty physical activity and abuse for your body.
Yeah, it's just, it's just admirable to see the growth of, I don't know if it's technology or just, nature, just having these things available. I'm from a time where like my grandmother was like, rubbing her legs with like vinegar when they hurt and stuff. So just to have like, products that are, like I said, growing and being tested and being, seeing testimonies about it, it's helped me. I'm sure a lot of other people can attest to that. So pains and stuff, things like that. Even like something as small as like a social anxiety or something that a lot of people suffer from. I think that could and you could probably talk about the addiction, help it gives people, but across the board, it's something I'm an advocate of. And,
Well, let me ask you this, because you've had a very personal example of the difference it can make with your brother, who was shot in the head and suffered obviously serious injuries, and then tell us what effect it's had on him.
Exactly, yeah.
And thank God he survived. I mean, they had to be.
100%, yeah. Just he got to, see more days after that incident. It was tragic, but trying to cope with some of those things that lingered after, the traumatic brain injury, we were, trying to find out what can stop him from having more seizures and stuff. We don't want to, be feeding him THC, getting him high. Like the, introduction of CBD helped him tremendously. He uses it daily. He's so much better now. So many less seizures, and people get all freaked out. Like you're not getting high. It's used for pain. It may chill you out. A lot of people need to grow up and just start learning more and talking about things that are real.
No, and that's why we're doing the show, because we wanted to really inform everybody. Dr. Joyce, in terms of what Kevin was saying about his brother with seizures, what does CBD do for that?
CBD helps with seizures, preventing seizures by modifying the receptors. CBD crosses the blood-brain barrier, which is where seizures happen. So it gets right to it. It relaxes the body on top of that, and it's just overall good. Research is still pending, so it doesn't, we don't know what exactly it does.
And over long-term use as well.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this: what about in terms of your practice? What kinds of conditions or ailments have you prescribed it for, and in what form?
I prescribed it for epilepsy. I prescribed it orally. Tincture is very big.
That's like little drops.
Yes.
Okay.
Little drops under the tongue.
Right.
And also, I prescribed it for neuropathy, which is pain. I prescribed it for neurologic problems like ALS, Lou Gehrig syndrome, just all types of neuropathies, like neurologic systems that affect the nerves. I'm trying to explain it like simple.
No, you totally explained it. Explaining it very
Okay.
simple. In terms of the uses that we've seen for it, we've seen it advertised for women to ease PMS pains, for all kinds of other skin creams, vitamins, even makeup has it now. Why is that?
I think we're in a society now where a lot of people are super stressed out. They have a lot of anxiety and have been looking for natural options in order to help them with anxiety reduction, pain reduction, inflammation, joint pain, depression, and insomnia. Those are the biggest things that I'm always having people come to me for. So a lot of companies are jumping on board because there's an opportunity for them to introduce products to people who want them, but we're seeing a rush of products coming in, and what's going to happen is we're going to have to take time to screen out the products and companies and see which ones stand up and which ones are just kind of pumping out products.
Kind of like fly by night,
Yeah.
basically, or just just like a quick hustle
Yeah.
without serious quality control.
So that's why I was saying the difference between CBD isolate products and then full spectrum products. So full spectrum has 0.03%. It's even lower because they want it to just be as the bare minimum of it. And the first wave of products that we saw were CBD isolate products, because as soon as people hear THC, they get scared. But then what the market has been finding out is that just CBD alone is not as effective with helping out with the different conditions and ailments.
So that's why they go for the trend is towards this, what you call the full spectrum.
Yeah.
We're going to get into this a little bit more. This is Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. We'll be right back.
Once she started to shift him over to CBD, it was just like, yay, he's such a pleasant little kid, and he's
Wow.
not, he doesn't need any pills.
Do you think it should be given to children for other, like some people have advocated for, Adrian jump in, for learning disability or
Yeah.
attention deficit disorder was the
Yeah,
other one.
That's one of the major
Or the
ones.
hyperactive.
I have parents who've given it to their children. The reason why I do it in honey is because sometimes kids don't necessarily like the taste of the tincture.
Right.
But honey is a more comfortable form for people. And what they've found is that, this is a quote from a little girl. She said that her brother bothering her, it doesn't get her as upset. She doesn't feel as provoked. She's still aware of it. She's still understanding it, but it just doesn't move her to that point. I also have parents with kids with ADHD who have been able to remove their kids off of those type of pills, and then
Right, because they give a lot of medications
give
for
a lot of
for the kids
medication.
that are diagnosed with as that having that.
Yes, and I had a mother who was very concerned with her son because she noticed that it was starting to cause him to be a darker child. And what I mean darker is darker in thought. Like he was starting to draw very negative things.
Like more negative, like scary.
Yeah, so then once she started to shift him over to CBD, it was just like, yay, he's such a pleasant little kid, and he's
Wow.
not, he doesn't need any pills, which is, a very easy way out for people, just to give a kid pills. But
So he was taking all these drugs for ADHD,
Mhm.
which were having this negative effect on the child,
yes.
which is understandable,
Mm-hmm.
and then switched to CBD,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's able to do better in school and not
Yeah.
doesn't need any of those drugs.
He's able to sit still. He's able to better perceive, because his mind isn't as like all over the place.
Right.
He actually enjoys school now. He always enjoyed school, but he was upset with himself in not being able to be a good student.
Like sit still and focus,
Yeah,
and
and
which
then-
so many kids have that issue.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
That's
that's why
the school hasn't
more-
kept up with the way our kids are evolving. That's
Mhm.
my opinion.
That's
but-
why more research is needed. More research in CBD and variations of THC mixed with CBD
for some of these things. What about Kevin? What about drug testing?
Oh, it's CBD is wonderful in that category. It doesn't well, at least for me when I was playing ball, we got drug tested pretty often, especially in college at Virginia. But that kept going in the NFL. I was just thinking about talking about kids and stuff like that. Have a or just hyper, or maybe they have a lot of great energy. Parents might not understand it. Whoever might not understand it, they get to go, get prescribed an Adderall or something like that, which is
Worse.
something. Yeah, I don't even know what that does. But in the NFL, that's like a banned substance. It's a performance enhancement. Why is that? Why can't everyone take it if it helps you focus and it's okay?
You mean CBD?
No, this is Adderall.
Oh,
That's,
Adderall, yeah.
But CBD is not going to show up on any drug tests. THC is what they test for. I've never heard of anyone testing for CBD. I'm not sure if there's a way you can, or if it'll show up on any drug test. But
Because when you were in the NFL, do they do spot checks like they do with baseball, or do they?
you just you're tested annually, and for other things that are not like a street drug, like a marijuana per se or something like that, they can test you pretty much. I would get calls on when I was landing on a vacation somewhere, and some NFL guy was meeting me, trying to get a urine sample. So They can
On
test
vacation?
you. Yeah.
Oh, because they figure you're going to go off the routine or...
Yeah, who knows what people were doing with
Yeah.
their free time, but they were real adamant about testing you, you know, throughout the off season, any time for.
The off season too.
Oh yeah, but not for street drugs or stuff like
More
that.
for like performance enhancing or those like bodybuilding, strength training type
And
drugs.
Adderall would be a failed test if you weren't prescribed for it. If you were taking that and, you know, doing some, whatever you were doing. Like, I'd never failed the drug test. Didn't have to worry about that.
Dr. Joyce, can you overdose on CBD?
Not necessarily overdose.
Can you take too much?
You can be over sedated, yes, but not exactly overdose.
How do you know when you had
means-
too much? You just fall asleep?
Yes.
Is basically it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Adrian, how long does it stay in your body? Like how long does it stay?
Like the effects of it?
Yeah, like if you're taking it for if you're super stressed out and you're taking
Yeah.
it like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're super stressed out and you still got 4 more hours or 5 more hours of work to do.
Yeah,
Can you get through that stretch with your 16 or 8 to 15 milligrams? Or
it depends on the person's.
Depends on if
Depends
you
on-
could do it without. You know,
Yeah,
can
each
you,
person's
are you a
stress is-
bad driver before you take the CBD? You'll probably be a bad driver with it. You know,
Right,
it's not going to
exactly.
increase.
don't blame the CBD, you're saying.
Yeah, it's you're not gonna take it and not be able to do whatever you were planning to do. You're just gonna have a different attitude. You'll feel a little better.
Yeah, which then helps to mitigate the stress that you're experiencing. So if you're better able to handle stress, then the stress that you're more you have more ability to overcome the stress. It's not necessarily CBD.
Right, and we know.
but
I mean, we've heard all
it's
these studies
compounding together.
about how damaging stress is. It causes so many of these other diseases that a lot of people suffer with. What about the cost, Kevin? Is it expensive?
Pretty expensive, to be honest. But I'm sure with the card, maybe do you
The card is
you could probably talk to Adrian a little bit more
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
prices.
yeah, let me ask him. What about because you're the wholesaler. I should.
Yeah,
He's in the streets
Yeah,
a little
you're
bit
right.
more than
I
street
know the
soldier for
prices
real.
of.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a
exactly.
street soldier.
the street soldier for real.
But-
What about the cost?
So I'm a real street soldier where I'm hitting the pavement and figuring out and going into different locations and different areas of the city. And when it comes to CBD, the prices
Depend on
vary
the zip code.
hugely based on the zip code and the brand recognition and how the label looks. But when it comes to the content of what's actually in it and the cost of CBD,
basically.
Well,
the
give me
same.
don't give me the whole business thing.
okay.
Just give me the practical. As a consumer, somebody watching the show or listening to the show right
Hit
now
Adrian's line.
is
He's got the
saying,
numbers.
okay, wow, I think I'm going to get a couple of these drops in case things get super hectic at work,
Yeah,
or they got a stressful event coming up, or family situation or whatever. And how much would it cost them for
Be
like a little bottle of
Be
drops?
honest.
For a bottle,
Retail.
retail 500 milligrams, I would say a fair price is
Average.
between $40 to $60. I've seen people go up to like $70, $80, and I think that's ridiculous.
$40 to $60.
Yes.
I don't, and
And
I'll
that's
tell
what-
you why.
Go ahead.
Because you can use a lot less of it and get more out of it.
I want to thank you all for being with us for this episode of Street Soldiers.
Thank you.
Kevin Ogletree, great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Dr. Joyce Golson, great to have you.
Great to be seen.
Thank you so much. Adrian Edwards, great to have you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. Let's push for peace.